Welcome to Career Connect. It's 2017 and this is the first show of the season. Today we're going to be talking about financial independence. This is something that is on everyone's mind. What happens when I get my first paycheck? What am I going to be spending on? And how should I run my financial affairs? Am I broke as a student or am I flush as a grad? What should I do and how should I go about it? So today I've got some great guests with me. I've got X from ACCA, who is a guru in this field, and we've got Atle from who's a Wits grad and is currently in the market and is in desperate need of some advice. So let's head out into the first question. What did you study?
So I did my undergraduate at Wits. I did obviously an undergraduate degree in media studies and communications as well as international relations. And then I went on to do my honors degree in international relations.
And did you think at the end of this, so 4 years later, that you would be needing to look for a job?
That thought was always there. I mean, I'm the type of person that wants to know what's next. What am I doing? Always trying to plan, figure out. I do not like stages of limbo. So I always knew that there's going to come a time when I need to look for a job, an adult for real. Yeah.
And tell me something. When you were a student, how did you pay the bills?
I did promotions. I worked for Student Village at some point. I hostessed a lot. I really loved hostessing, and that's pretty much how I got my extra pocket money that I needed.
And did you feel at any stage that you needed help budgeting?
Yes, of course. I mean, when you're a student, you spend so much money on food. So for me, I was just like, if I cannot deal with what I'm getting, the small amount that I'm getting now, how am I going to do it afterwards? So definitely it was one of those things where there were points where I was really, really broke, and I'd have to go to mom and be like, Mom, I need this money for data, I need this money for airtime, So definitely there were moments of being broke and trying to figure out.
X, don't you think it would be great if we could just phone mom every other week to say we broke?
That for every opportunity I get to call my mother, I would think I would. We all need a savior. Yes.
So tell me something. Is budgeting such a hard thing to understand?
Yes and no. In simple terms, to budget, you need to know what is it that you need to achieve by when. Second part to that would be what makes it not so easy, because we get into habits of fruitless expenditure, as she was indicating to, and to kick that out of your system takes a while.
What would you put into fruitless expenditure?
As young people, we like going out, we like pleasing John next door. If John is doing this, I want to do that too. So most of the expenditures that we end up incurring is not necessarily out of necessity. It's actually just out of peer pressure from a young person's point of view. But if you were to look at it as a graduate, as where she is now, she might have debt loan. That's serious debt. So you need to have a plan on how to take care of that.
Is it as easy as saying, don't spend what you don't have?
Definitely not. Nothing is ever as easy as saying it, I mean, when you get your first salary, it's obviously not the dream amount that you wanting to get. So there's things like transport, there's things like food, there's things that you don't even think of. There are things that I'm not even thinking of right now that I know I'm going to have to pay for, that I'll only figure it out, a year into my first job. So it's not as easy as it is. There are things that may seem that they're not important to you right now, but they will be. So it's definitely not as easy.
It sounds like you're being strategic in getting into the workplace. We won't tell your mum. Tell me, when you get that first SMS, that first beep about your first paycheck, what are you going to spend it on? Is it yours?
Well, I mean, we've already decided at home. Well, my parents have already decided that it's not mine. So definitely it's going to my parents. But I know that even in me just saying, okay, this is for you, they're going to say, no, we were joking this entire time, it's yours to spend. So giving them their money that they gave me for that first month to get to work, that transport money, I need to give it back to them. I'm changing my account from a student to like a check account. What else? And opening account, trying to build credit. That's one of the biggest things that I'm thinking of right now.
Do you think that's a great approach?
Oh, absolutely, to a large extent. She mentioned something that was very key to her planning, building a healthy credit. Now you need to understand what that is. There is bad and there is healthy one that is people, young professionals get into. So the first one that I could think of is what we normally do as young people. Let's get that flashy car. Let's go that Edgar's account, those store credit accounts, forgetting that some of this is not actually good for you.
So what does healthy mean?
Healthy means there's nothing that beats planning. It's nothing that will beat that. Failing to plan is actually a master plan on how you will fail with your finances. First and foremost, there are several hundreds of financial products that can help young people build that knowledge up for themselves and to plan. Most financial services have that, particularly banks. They would have that for free. So this is a reservoir of knowledge on how you can better manage your finances. First thing on top of my mind that I would suggest, particularly to a graduate, take care of your debt. Your first debt would actually be your student loans that you've incurred during your studies. The fancy car that you think about shouldn't be a priority. Yes, you do need means of transport getting to work. It doesn't have to be a fancy one.
What about, does healthy maybe suggest paying your bill on time? So you get your account for your store account, your retail account. Does healthy mean I'm taking debt on that I can manage and I'm paying it at the same time?
No.
On time.
Part of it, yes. If you can, as a young professional, at all costs, avoid incurring debt. Healthy debt would be, I'll make an example. Most young professionals, when they get into a workspace, they will need to be exposed to a lot of things within that work environment. Normally it requires travel and you would need to get a car. So that's healthy credit. Getting a store account, that's bad credit. Who are you trying to impress?
Ashley, who are you trying to impress?
Well, for me, I know that a car is not a short-term goal. It's a long-term goal. So maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years of me working. So when I say I'm getting a store account, it doesn't mean I'm going to Edgar's and I'm going to blow all of this money and buy all of these clothes. I just need to have something that's in my name to say that I'm paying for this monthly, whether I'm paying 50 rands or I'm paying 100 rands. It's not the clothes per se. It's more about it being in my name. And if maybe I want to get a phone or I want to get a car, then I can say I've been paying this for a year or for 18 months. So I will be able to pay for this car. So I think short term wise, a car wouldn't make sense for me at this point.
Sounds like she's got her head screwed on, right?
She has it right. Yes, you do definitely. To her point, to saying that for you to demonstrate that you are able to manage your finances, you definitely need some of those. And she definitely has a right plan in mind in terms of how to accumulate that credit history that most financial institutions would need before they lend you money. So in terms of that, also you have it to the T. But also I think to your point again is to be able to prioritize what is it that you can get on debt, on credit, and the necessity thereof.
Great. Good credit, bad credit. Good choices, bad choices. We are a product of our choices that we make or the choices we choose not to make.
Yes.
This has been a fascinating discussion, and we'll be back after the break with all your questions.
Probably save most of it and then spend the rest of it on shoes.
I've already decided that like I'm giving it to my parents, man. I'm gonna give it to my mother.
I think people and yourself invest in people and their ideas, because you're not one person. You alone. It's great to invest in yourself alone, but I mean, invest in other people, because 3 heads or 4 heads are better than one. So I mean, if I ever had the chance, I'd love to help invest in people and their ideas and their knowledge, and grow them and groom myself, and yeah.
Well, I believe like the best thing to invest in is property. Well, with property, I believe you can never go wrong, like ever, because it just always increases. The price of the property always increases. You can't get less than that.
I believe that money follows you, and that if you work hard towards something that you really love, money will follow you. So ultimately, if you take your first paycheck and you invest it in, like, for example, fashion, like a fashion boutique or whatever the case is, and you know that is your bread and butter, and like it's your world. I mean, despite what everyone says, what anyone thinks, I mean, if you love it, I mean, it will grow, it will progress, and who knows, you might find yourself at New York Fashion Week. So yeah.
That's a big effect, because if you're not managing, then you're obviously living from paycheck to paycheck and you can't progress. And if you like saving, you can save for a car, property, a deposit on this, something like that. So that's very important.
Managing your money, I think it's such a difficult thing, and it really does affect your progress or success, because if you don't use the money that you get wisely, and if you don't know how to manage it, then I mean, you become stuck in, like another guy said, you're just trapped in a cycle, and it's just a never-ending cycle of, I don't know, I'm doing the same things even though I'm planning to not do the same things. And it's just, you have to manage your money to be successful, whether you're managing a 5,000 rand salary or you're managing 100,000 rand salary. It's how you have to fit it in your lifestyle to make your definition of success come true.
Welcome back. It was a fascinating first half. Now we really want to get to the nitty gritty. I think, Ashley, you've got a question that's been on your mind, yes. And I can tell you now, this is something that everyone at home is thinking about.
So now I've got my first paycheck. What do I do when by the 2nd of the next month I am broke? How do I make it through the rest of the month, or how do I avoid that?
First thing is first, your paycheck never comes as a surprise. You know exactly what you're earning. Yeah. So back to your first point when when we started the conversation in terms of planning, you actually need to have a very strict budget in terms of what you will be spending, what you'll be spending it on. So top priorities normally is transport, food, and as young people, we like having fun, part of entertainment. Those things will not happen automatically. You actually need to make a very conscious decision in exactly what it is you'll be spending your money on. So drawing up a budget is the biggest asset towards protecting yourself from getting into situations like that.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
100%. And when you say budget, should one be very, very specific, or can we be general, or is it relative?
Look, with budgeting, depending on your needs, as a graduate, assuming that most of us as graduates, we lived at home, so most of your finances would probably be for food and transportation. So they would actually differ from month to month, depending on the priorities. You might be thinking about moving out of home. You might be thinking about now building up the credit that you wish for future assets that you would like to build up. So yes, it will differ from month to month. My recommendation and always suggestions, particularly to young people, is it's never too early. It's never too late to get a financial advisor on your pocket, purely because these services, they are freely available to everyone, by the way, from banks, from tools that are on the internet, freely available resources. They will actually take you through step by step in your life phases. They will tell you exactly what you need by when. How do you go about planning for it? Particularly when you're getting your first job. Your first job, as a shock of your salary, you are told this is how much you're going to earn. You might not know what to spend your money on immediately, apart from the essentials that I spoke about earlier on. These people are able to actually get you engaged in your future planning and how you could go about in doing that.
Yeah, here's another angle. What about, and I'm sure people at home find this too, is what about budgeting for rainy days?
That's very key.
It seems like rainy days come up even when it's not rainy season.
Yes. Something that I learned very hard as a young person. You need to have, there's something called savings and there's investment. Those are two different things. Investment says I'm investing money so I can have something in future. And generally, investment is money that grows. You need to plan for rainy days will be part of the savings component, but future planning, for example, let's make an example of getting a car. You need to put a deposit for that. For you to be able to do that, savings is not going to cut it. You need to invest that money. For you to know what investments you need to make, you need to know where to get that information from. I reiterate my point earlier on. Use the new age information technology to your advantage. Use the services that are freely available to you. Tap into that. Don't fall into the trap that some of us have fallen into, say, we'll do things as we go along.
Next month. I'll start the diet next month.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is on your mind?
I would say, when should I start? Should I start with my first paycheck in terms of getting your insurance? In terms of even life insurance. Is life insurance important for me right now? How do I decide when it comes to medical aid, choosing the best medical aid for me right now that will suit me as a young professional?
Oh, that's a very beautiful question. I think it's never too early to have life insurance. Something that happens to us when we are young professionals, as you were indicating earlier on, we're so quick to get into debt. So your life insurance protects you against your debt should something unfortunate happen to you, protects your family from all of that. That's number one. So life insurance is, if not the most critical part of your planning, it should be on top of your list. I will back that up by making an example. We all know somebody, a young person who has died and left their families in so much debt that takes them a lifetime to get out of that debt. Sometimes even their parents die without even paying off that debt. So it trickles down to a next generation. Be smart enough to protect your family. You might not have necessarily dependence on you as early as young you are, but you have incurred debt. One of your debt, typical one, is your student loan. Typical one, it will be that. Second part to your question, how would you then go about doing the nitty-gritty of planning that? Simple exercise. You know what the essentials are. You know what the nice-haves are. Nobody has to teach you these things. You know that from the core of your being. Nobody must teach you these things. If somebody has to teach you these things, then you need to actually you need to do a self-introspection to understand, who am I as a person? What is it that I need to attain? Going back to a point that I made earlier on, your cycle of life should be able to inform you how you should go about attaining those.
I read something that if you start saving young, the compounding effect, the quickest way to become a millionaire is to start saving early.
Absolutely.
What do you think of that?
Absolutely. I wish people could believe when people say that. Because the fact that we are agreeing, young people, speaking about myself as well when I was young, had you had said that to me when I was young, I would have probably thought you're smoking something cheap. Here's a reality check. we are adults now. If somebody were to ask us that question, how far are we in our savings plan in terms of achieving our goals? Believe you me, very few of us could confidently say, I've saved enough. So
We'll say our plans are firmly in place for next month to start.
yes. So reiterating your point again and saying, from the day one you earn money, start. I would go even further, not saving. Invest that money. Invest it. Put it away. Lock it up. It's never too early to start. If it's 20 rand, let that be. If it's 50 rand, oh great. If you can make more than that, fantastic. Guess what? You are you are future beneficiary of that saving. Your friends might be going on living the lit life, as so young people will call it. They will lighting it up on Great Dane and wherever. Save up. You can live that life at a later stage of your life.
So I can tell you for free that was probably the best advice you'll ever get in your life.
That's very true.
And I'm sure most people at home are thinking, wow, I've been at university for 3 or 4 years and I never got anything close to that. And I think the biggest thing is, am I paying myself first to invest and build my future and allow enough for any rainy days to make sure that I don't topple over if life happens to me.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for today's show. I really think it is of huge benefit, not only to you, but to everyone around the country. And we look forward to the next show. So it's the Career Connect. That's where it's at.